Welcome to episode 3 of A Project About Nothing, where nonsense makes perfect sense. I'm your host, Brandon Cho, back with another episode. I hope you guys tapped into episode 2 as we broke down the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals as both champions have been crowned. Shout out the Florida Panthers, though. Shout out the Florida Panthers on going back-to-back in the Stanley Cup. This is now a hockey state, so nobody can say we're not. Again, and the parade I heard was amazing, so shout out to everybody who went to the parade and everybody who supported the Florida Panthers from the beginning of the season all the way to another title. So shout out again, the Florida Panthers. Make sure you guys follow us on all social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on TikTok and Instagram at A Project About Nothing. You won't be disappointed, so make sure you guys tap in with us there. But episode 3, man, obviously we have to talk about the crowning achievement that is the Oklahoma City Thunder as they take care of business at home against the Indiana Pacers 103-91 in a lackluster Game 7 victory at home as they capture their first NBA title. In franchise history, really, well, since moving to Oklahoma, that is their first title since leaving Seattle. So big ups to them. Shout out that entire organization. Shout out that entire roster for making big things happen and winning their first NBA championship. However, we do have to send our prayers up to Tyrese Haliburton, as unfortunately at about, I don't know the time frame, but in the first quarter, he's going crazy, hits 3 straight threes, decides to pump fake and go ahead and try to attack the basket as his left Achilles completely goes out and tears it in midway through the first quarter. Just a sad moment for a guy who's really had an epic playoff run, multiple game winners, leading his team all the way to an NBA Finals berth and to a Game 7. You just hate to see that go, you just hate to see somebody like that go down. He's the engine of their team and somebody who definitely has a lot of years ahead of him. Very, very young, very, very poised as a point guard. So to see an injury like that happen to a player like that, it sucks. It honestly sucks. So prayers up to him. Hope for a speedy recovery. And the Pacers are going to be back. They have a young core with guys like Ben Mathurin, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith. They got some young guys, and they also have some vets like Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam to really form a well-rounded roster. And I think they're going to be here for years to come, honestly. As long as Haliburton is able to heal up and be somewhat close to the player he is now, it doesn't have to necessarily be that, but something close to that, especially when it comes to his ability to work in the open floor. He still needs to be able to do that at an elite level. But if he's able to do that, this Pacer team is definitely going to be one to reckon with. Obviously, with the Eastern Conference up in the air, with Jason Tatum's Achilles injury, Boston's definitely out of the picture. We never know what's going to happen with the 76ers or the Miami Heat. And the New York Knicks, of course, they're up and down, especially after firing their coach Tom Thibodeau last month. So we have no idea what the Knicks are going to do and what they're going to be looking like. So the Pacers next year do have a shot, even without Tyrese Haliburton. I still think they have a solid shot at representing the Eastern Conference and going to the NBA Finals. So shout out to the Pacers for an incredible season. However, this NBA season and this Finals is about the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder are one of 4 teams to at least finish the season with 84 wins or more. And SGA is one of 4 players ever, all time, to win the MVP, win the scoring title, and win an NBA championship. We're talking Michael Jordan, who's done it 4 times, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's the list. That's the list that SGA just put himself on. And the question that we're going to have, it's obvious. Is SGA the best player in the world? Now, for sure, he's top 5. That's a given. I think he's the best guard in the league. I think he overtook Luka with that finals performance. Obviously, Steph is going to have something to say about that. You have other guards as well in the league that definitely want to go for that title as far as the best guard in the world. But SGA by far is the best guard in the world. But is he the best player? Now, do you value winning and being part of a championship team, or do you value responsibility and how much numbers you're putting up based off all the things you have to do for your team? If you value that, obviously you're going to go with Nikola Jokic, somebody who is religiously pretty much averaging a triple-double, does everything for his team and then some, but sometimes comes up a little bit short. Obviously, they won the title a couple years ago, but hasn't been back to the finals since. And again, lost to the Thunder this year in the second round in a Game 7. So as great as Nikola Jokic is, SGA kind of snatched his ring in essence this year by beating him in the second round and going all the way and winning a championship. So if you ask me, you lead the league in scoring at over 32 a game and you win the title and you're top 5 in steals, you're the best player in the world. You're a two-way player. Even if you don't average 10, 11 assists, even if you don't grab 10, 11 rebounds, that's okay because you're doing what the team needs you to do, and this game's about a bucket. That's something that I really, really want to clarify when I talk about basketball on this podcast. You guys might say, man, you don't know shit about what you're talking about. It's about rings. It's about who's getting triple doubles. It's about MVPs. It's about this. It's about that. It's really not. Because at the end of the day, you're going to count one team's points and you're going to stack it up against another team's points. And honestly, you don't stack up assists. You don't stack up rebounds. You don't stack up steals. Who scored more points than who? And obviously this game's about a bucket and SGA knows that. I think what he's done is also brought back a level of early 2000s basketball where the middle of the floor now is being exposed. And if you have a mid-range game alongside the ability to attack the basket, shoot the three ball at a decent rate, and play in transition, that is another thing as well that I think is getting missed in this entire NBA season and really what the Thunder are doing. They know how to play slow down level basketball when it comes to slowing down their opponent and playing in the half court, but they really honestly thrive in transition. And somebody like SGA who's comfortable attacking the basket, stopping on a dime, shooting a midi, giving up a pass to either a Cason Wallace or an Aaron Wiggins for a wide open three in transition. It just makes his teammates' life easier. It makes his life easier, and it makes the Oklahoma City Thunder as a whole's life easier. Because at the end of the day, SGA is the motor, but he's also somebody that's not dependent on other guys to score. Again, shout out Tyrese Haliburton for his an incredible season. But you see their difference in games. Tyrese Haliburton, I'm not sure the last time he scored 30 points in the postseason. It obviously was this season, and he's had great postseason moments. But SGA has averaged 30 in this postseason, and that's the difference. He's a guy that you don't have to drop a play for. He's not a guy where you need to get him the ball at a certain spot on the floor. You don't have to do that. You never did. He's a guy who can get it on the left wing, right elbow, left elbow, either baseline, top of the key. It doesn't matter. Free throw line extended. It doesn't matter where you want to put SGA. He can operate at that pace, at that level, at that spot on the floor at any moment in time. And that's special shit because that's Kobe, that's MJ, that's Bron, that's Kyrie, that's KD, that's Book. We're talking skill guys, like guys who they don't need much phone booth scorers, Carmelo Anthony, Brandon Roy. We're talking guys who can just get a bucket in any spot on the floor at any moment, no matter the pressurized situation. A bucket in the fourth quarter doesn't mean the same as it does in the first quarter. Obviously, when the game wanes and you need a bucket, especially when the game is close in the fourth quarter, you want to have guys that aren't scared of the moment, but also relish that and are comfortable in those moments because of the reps that they put in and the skill that they have. And I think SGA has taken that leap and has taken that step as the best guard in the NBA and the best player in the NBA. But before we go on to one of the biggest trades that's happened in recent memory, I do want to answer a question that's been asked to me. Now, I've been asked, do the Oklahoma City Thunder have what it takes to become a dynasty? And unfortunately, I say they do. And it's sad to say. I'm sorry, guys. It really is sad to say. I'm not an Oklahoma City fan. I definitely am an SGA fan. Especially went to Big Blue Nation. Shout out Kentucky. That's my school, so shout out Kentucky. But he's a Kentucky guard. Those guys are killers, coming into the league. But they just have a formula that is going to be able to allow them to sustain this level of success for a solid period of time. You have young guys, obviously SGA, Cason Wallace, Chet Holmgren, J-Dub. You have young guys there in place. You have vets, Harkenstein and Caruso, to really fill out the roster. Then you have guys that are still coming up, within the system. So it allows the Thunder to really maximize what they have now and develop what they have coming in. And that's just a special that's just a great job by the organization, really, by Sam Presti and that organization to really set themselves up for success, not just for one season. People thought they may never get back to the NBA Finals after losing Kevin Durant to Golden State, after they traded away James Harden to the Houston Rockets, after Russell Westbrook decided to want to leave after 2019 when they lost to the Portland Trail Blazers. Shout out Dame for one of the best buzzer beaters to ever happen. They never thought they would ever be able to relinquish that amount of talent. And honestly, this team isn't more talented because the three guys I just named have all won MVP, have all been first team All NBA, have all been the bus driver and not the bus rider in their situations. Russ, obviously in Oklahoma City, winning an MVP. James Harden for 7-8 years in Houston. And Kevin Durant for a couple of seasons in Brooklyn. And definitely in Phoenix, he's been the bus driver. Obviously, his lack of leadership shows in those situations. James Harden, as great as a player he is not really good in clutch situations. And Russ is great. Unfortunately, he's just not a great volume shooter. And his shot and his percentages with his jumper have gone down tremendously as the years have passed on. So clearly, as individuals, they may be better. But as a group, they weren't able to really take advantage of the moment. I think SGA, J-Dub, and Chet Holmgren, they complement each other very well, and they are all comfortable in their roles. So J-Dub knows he's the second option. He knows it going in. He knows, okay, this guy's going to go get 30, 32 a night. I'm going to be right behind him at about 22, 23 a night. Chet Holmgren knows he's the third option, especially after this season. He's realized that not only do I have to lock up defensively, but I'm not going to get 20 shots a game. I may not even get 15 shots a game. But the 10 shots I get, I'm going to make the most of that opportunity. And the way the game is played now, it's 82 games. You're going to tell me he's not going to go on a 10-game stretch or a 15-game stretch where he's averaging 23 and 10? That doesn't mean he's going to average that for the year. But obviously, they're all going to have their moments within the regular season and also within the postseason as well, where he's going to need to shine or play bigger than whatever he's averaging at that time. And SGA obviously is the bus rider, or he's the bus driver. He's the one that's going to make it happen. He's the engine that pushes that team. He's going to be north of 30 every night, top 5 in steals, as we all know and love to see. So, unfortunately, they do have the formula to become a dynasty. Now, do I see that happening? It's very hard to say. After the last 7 championships, or the last 7 champions have all been different. Back to 2019, we had the Raptors. 2020, we had the Lakers. 2021, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. 2022, we have the Golden State Warriors. 2023, we have the Denver Nuggets. 2024, we have the Boston Celtics. In 2025, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder. So clearly the parity in this game is next to none because is a lot. Sorry, I said that wrong, but there's so much parity in basketball because there's so much talent in this game that you really never know who's going to take that leap moving forward. But they have the formula. They have the young guys. They have the MVP. They have vets. They have great coaching. They have great structure. They have great culture. This team is set up for the long haul for a very long time. So who's to say what's going to happen in the future? But if they were to win 2 out of the next 3 titles and getting 3 out of the last 4 titles in total, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to be very, very, very worried as to who's going to be able to overthrow that moving forward. So again, shout out the Oklahoma City Thunder, your 2025 NBA champs, and let's see if they're able to run it back next season. But before we close it out, I definitely wanted to tap in with you guys and talk about one of the most awkwardest and biggest trades that's happened so far this season. And I'm sure you guys already know this. Kevin Durant, a top 10 scorer of all time numbers wise, in my opinion, the second greatest scorer to ever live when it comes to skill. He's next level, and he has now been officially traded to the Houston Rockets. Says here for a Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 overall pick in the 2025 draft, and 5 second-round picks. And the trade will become official on July 6th when the new league year begins. My initial thoughts on this trade, actually made me sad because now I just view KD as just a mercenary. He's just a gun for hire. Yeah, I can score 26. Yeah, I can grab 8 rebounds. Yeah, I can dish out 5 assists. But am I a leader? Can I galvanize troops and say, hey, follow me? I'll carry us to this point. Now, I might need some help along the way, but I'll get us here. Kevin Durant is not made with that mentality. And that's not a bad thing. It really isn't, because sometimes some guys just want to go hoop and go home. The problem is that his talent warrants more than just being a guy who needs to go get 26 and go home. That's not who Kevin Durant is. That's not who he should be, but that is who he is. And at some point in time, we're going to have to understand that, unfortunately, Kevin Durant's career completely shifted after Draymond Green called this man a bitch in the middle of a game because he didn't pass him the basketball. Or Kevin Durant got mad at Draymond Green for not passing him the basketball in a regular season game against the Clippers. It's really boiled down to that moment when Kevin Durant couldn't suck up enough energy to say, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to get over it. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to come out here and play. Because Kevin Durant and Steph Curry right now, today, if they would have stayed together, could have finished as the best duo in NBA history. And I'm talking better than Scottie and Mike. I'm talking better than Kobe and Shaq. I'm talking better than LeBron and D Wade. We're talking about the greatest shooter to ever live in Stephen Curry and a 7-foot sniper in Kevin Durant. Their games complemented each other so well. And Draymond Green's a guy who doesn't need to shoot the basketball to be effective. It just goes to show, like, mentally, he can't withstand a lot. Because you decide to leave because a man called you a bitch in the middle of the game. It's a regular season game. Who cares? Respectfully, it's you, it's Stephen Curry, it's Klay Thompson, it's Draymond Green, it's Andre Iguodala, it's Steve Kerr. Dude, you're loaded. You're loaded. And you decide to want to leave that situation because you want to play with your homie Kyrie, and I get that. Kyrie's my favorite player, so I'm not here to make any dispersions on that. I would want to play with Kyrie. I'm not an NBA player, so I get that point of it. But it's hard for me to believe that Kevin Durant would have left if the situation in that Clipper game never happened. It happened. And it goes to show, unfortunately, mentally, he's just not all the way there. There's a lack of mental stability. There's a lack of mental awareness when it comes to Kevin Durant. And it allows him to make these irrational decisions, like going to Brooklyn, like pulling the trigger and going to Phoenix, like allowing this trade to the Houston Rockets to happen. Because let's get it out the way right now. They are not making the NBA Finals with this current roster. As great as Alfred Şengün is, Fred VanVleet and Jabari Smith Jr., that's not enough to get you over the top. And shout out Ahmed Thompson. I also think he will be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate when it's all said and done one day in his career. Also an All-Star one day in his career. But that's not right now. And that's not going to be anytime soon, in my opinion. And Kevin Durant, he's got a lot of things. One thing he doesn't have is time. He's 36 years old, going on 37 next season. As great as he is, he averaged 26 and 8 last season. He's a bucket. He's one of the best players to ever live. He can't take you over the top. And that's what a team like Golden State might have needed. That's a team like the Knicks could have needed, because they already had a structure in place with leaders in place, whether it's leaders in coaching, within the players, within the culture or the organization. They already have leaders in place where KD can just plug and play. That's why he worked so well in Golden State. He did not have to lead, even though he was the best player on that team. And you can argue between him and Steph all day. But honestly speaking, he didn't have to lead. He didn't have to lead by play. He didn't have to lead by vocalizing anything. He didn't have to do any of that stuff. He just plug and play. Go in here, go score 25, 26 a night, and we'll take care of the rest. Ever since he's left Golden State, he's had more responsibility. And unfortunately, he's been unable to be able to take advantage of that and make the most of it. Now, in 2021, I will say, obviously, the toe on the line against the Bucks hurt him. Kyrie going out with the ankle injury hurt him. James Harden tearing his hamstring up hurt him. Definitely. There's no doubt about it. Unfortunately so, that's part of his story, and he allowed it to become that due to the decisions he's made. Now, my expectations for Houston are definitely to be better than what they were last season. Maybe not in terms of record or seeding, but in terms of what they're able to do in the postseason and really moving forward. But Kevin Durant, I think, has about 2 to 3 great years left of really good basketball. And I'm not sure if the Houston Rockets are going to be ready within that time frame to take the next step and take over teams in their same conference. Because look, before I go, I'm going to mention the teams that Houston Rockets are not better than right now. Oklahoma City Thunder, they're not better than them. The Denver Nuggets, they're not better than them. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they're not better than them. The LA Lakers, they're not better than them. That's 4 teams right there. Now, they're right there at 5, 6, 7, 8. I will give them that. And they should be after finishing third in the Western Conference last season. So they're right there. They're right in the mix. But to pull this trade and to trade Jalen Green, who had his best season as a young guy, who I thought was only going to get better. You trade him for a guy who's definitely ready to win right now, but he doesn't have the structure around him. Houston doesn't have that. Shout out Ime Udoka as well. I think he's a great coach, and I think he is their leader. And if he's able to get the most out of Kevin Durant, I think that'll be great. But this should have been a championship move, or it should have been a package deal. Get him and Devin Booker somewhere where they can both thrive. And obviously that's hard to do when it comes to salaries and other players being traded for this, that, and the third. So a package deal with him and Book obviously was unlikely, but they should have tried to do something, especially in Kevin Durant's sake, because I'm not sure where Houston goes from here, what other trade assets they're going to be able to do. Now, they do have the 10th overall pick in this year's draft. Hopefully that can turn into something special, or even somebody who makes the rotation. And they have 5 second-round picks, so they can leverage that and maybe get a good, solid rotation player or even a 6-man on their team. But unfortunately, I don't see that becoming a thing next season. That's a wrap for episode 3. I hope you guys tapped in and tuned in. Make sure you guys follow us on all social media platforms. We have our TikTok and Instagram up running. And subscribe to our YouTube. Episode 3 will drop this Friday at 12 noon, so make sure you guys tap in. I'm out.